Which of the films that you've worked on do you believe to have been the best work you've done so far in your career, and why?
You like mommy or daddy better?
And who's your favorite kid?
No, I mean, I think I'm really proud of Diving Bell and the Butterfly simply because the movie it was written by Ronnie Harwood in such a way that the camera is really one of the characters. And I want to make movies where I can express myself through visuals. I don't want a movie that just expresses I can express myself through visuals, but I also want the story that gives me that kind of chance, you know. And that movie was extremely challenging and freeing for me because the camera was one of the actors. And every single movie that I do, it's got a little scene that I really love, you know. I mean, there were scenes in Minority Report that I really liked. There were scenes in Indy 4 that I really liked. There were scenes in Cool as Ice that I really liked. You know, Cool as Ice was a movie with Vanilla Ice in 1991. You should see it; it's a masterpiece. But there are scenes in that movie that I really like. But I think, you know, if you take Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan and Amistad away from that equation, I think Diving Bell and the Butterfly is my favorite movie right now. So Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, Amistad, and Diving Bell, because those are the four movies that I really like. And it's not really because of the visuals, it's because of the story. I mean, the story, I'm really moved by the story, you know. It's compelling, it's emotional, it reflects the state of humanity.
I was going to say, people ask about Diving Bell and the Butterfly with the eyeball shot, and you say it was pretty simple to do, pretty easy technique. Are there any challenges that you ever come up with? Like, what was the most difficult shot to sort of pull off or attempt or try?
It's kind of not important, you know. I'm sorry to dismiss this question, but it's really, it's not important. I mean, what the difficult shot? Is it difficult because it took 5 hours to do it? Yeah, I guess it's difficult. But I think, I mean, it's a really amazing movie, Diving Bell and Butterfly, because a lot of the stuff, I don't know if you're aware, there was virtually no CGI work. It's all done on camera. There are no digital manipulations with the exception of the butterfly going through the, thank you, with a butterfly going through the frame. But the closing sequence where the main character is dying, it's all hand-cranked camera, you know, going forward, going backwards, and layering images and trying to figure out what happens to a brain when you're dying, what happens when people are coming at you, talking to you. Are they in your presence? Are you just imagining them, or are you already gone? And creating these layers of images where the audience is kind of a little confused as well. What's happening here? Who are these people? Are you seeing one person coming through another? And all that is happening because I think the brain cells are just dying and the impulses are just misfiring and you're just losing completely the sense of reality. So you come up with that concept first. You have to realize what may happen to the brain as you die, and then you try to figure out the technique that allows you to do that. You don't come up with the technique, you find out that the reason to use the technique, you know. Same with Saving Private Ryan. When we did all that skinny shutter and shooting at different camera speeds, and there's a reason for it. You emotionally, you're trying to reflect what's happening on the screen to them emotionally. When you use other movies, for example, like, you know, the Gladiator had sequences that use the same technique, and it was just like, why are you doing this? What is the purpose of this? There was no reason for it, you know.
Let me ask you a question. Do you want to show some more clips? You want to keep the conversation going?
Well, whatever you guys want to do.
I can
show you some commercials that I directed, and we can talk about that world. Which is totally different from movies.
Should we do
that? What do you want to do?
Speak up.
Clips.
Use up.
Okay, let's take a look at the next reel, okay?
Then we talk about what it means to cinematographer versus director. I mean, they're fun, they're silly. I mean, it's great to do them. You know, versus a movie, you do a movie, you on it for a year and a half and nobody cares. You do a commercial in 2 weeks, it's out on television in 3 weeks and nobody cares either. So,
when you're directing a commercial, do you shoot them yourself?
Right, yeah, definitely.
And
why? Because it's just such a simpler relationship. You don't have to explain to the DP what you're intending, or, you know. I mean, the commercials are all driven by images. Very few. You really don't need a director to some degree. You need someone who's a good salesman who's going to get the job, you know, and that's usually the director who's going to, you know, kind of you get the jobs on the phone, which is like so surreal. I mean, you may say one wrong word, and goes to the next guy, you know. So that's the commercials. But
Have you learned anything from directing commercials that help you as a cinematographer?
sure, I've learned that cinematographer can be tremendous thief of the time, you know. They can steal the time from you, whether it's 10, 15 minutes away a day, you know. At the end of the week, all of a sudden it was 2 hours because of the cinematographer. So I try to be really fast in my work because I realize the pressure of time and the necessity to allow the director to have as much time as possible so they can utilize the time and create hopefully a good movie, right? And you know, it's just the pressure of directing. It's really immense, and it's a very lonely profession. You know, you're really by yourself. There is nobody you can rely on. You know, as a cameraman, as a cinematographer, you can hide behind the lens and do not talk to him. He's thinking. I'm not thinking. I'm so scared. I don't want to do. You know. But as a director, you have to get the answers. You know, and people are coming at you. You know, with different questions, and frequently you just want to run away and not answer, but you have to because that's the director. So it's a very lonely job. And there's a reason why directors get all the accolades and they shoot when they make a good movie. And there's a reason why if the director makes a good movie, we all want to be part of it. If the movie is bad, we all told him not to make a bad movie, you know. But it's still probably one of the best jobs on the set, being a director. Part-time. I would not want to do it full-time. It's just they don't work frequent enough. I like working a lot.
You got a question there?
See that guy? So.
When you watch movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then those from the 21st century, I mean, I see that there's a difference in color, and I find the movies from earlier to seem more realistic than those from today. What do you think about that?
The difference, the difference between 70s and now? That's correct, right? I think the 70s were interested in creating reality. The stories were more realistic, and that's why the movies were photographed in a more realistic way. The New York style, where you would get the camera and go on the street and shoot the world the way as it was, you know. Where Hollywood will always create a dream, will create entertainment. We're supposed to allow the poor audience escape the struggle and difficulties of everyday's life, you know. So everyone is a little bit different, you know. Plus the action genre did not exist, you know, during that time. And there were movies with action, but there was no action genre. And action genre is all about kind of, you know, dazzle and razzle, you know, making beautiful, stunning images and more explosives and people flying and fires and all that stuff. But you still have good movies that are kind of photographed in a realistic style. I think Crash was making an attempt to be realistic. Yeah, occasionally you get little jewels that are really amazing. And there's nothing wrong with making a Hollywood movie. For example, I felt There Will Be Blood was as Hollywood as it can be, but yet the story was so compelling you could identify with the character and understand the emotions, and I think that was one of the best movies I've seen, and yet was really beautifully photographed and production design, you know. So it's always the story, you know. Must the action movie always be empty and stupid? Well, it does not have to be. You could have good characters and you could have a really good action movie with great characters. Does the audience expect good characters? They do. Do they care if they're not good? Yeah, they really don't